1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, yummy.
Are you ready?
Falafels. Today you're going to be learning how to make falafels, and the first thing you should have done is you should have got some dry chickpeas, soaked them in a tub of water, covering them for a couple inches for at least 12 hours, if not more, up to 16 hours. Something should be plenty. After that, just drain them off and you'll have these soft chickpeas. Before, they're super hard and like little rocks, but now they're perfect. So the first thing you can do is just go ahead, dump them all inside of a food processor. Next, you're gonna get 2 pieces of garlic. You can go ahead and chop them up just roughly if you want to, just to help them split up a little faster inside the food processor, but it's gonna chop things anyways. Then we have like a handful of some fresh parsley, so I'm just gonna roughly chop that so it's easier for it to again mix inside of the food processor. Following this, I'm gonna add in a quarter of an onion. So just take your onion, cut it in half, half again, and then cut off the tops and bottoms. Once that's done, just peel the outside skin off, and then I'm gonna use 1/4 of this onion. Clean up the mess around you. And then just, again, if you roughly chop it, it's easier for it to get into the blender and start chopping up more, rather than having big chunks that don't just spin around inside of the machine. So I'm gonna put in some spices and stuff, but I'm gonna just chop that up roughly first so it just gets mixed up. You see, sometimes the parsley doesn't want to get blended in very well, so that's why you definitely want to make sure it's chopped, and then just stop it midway through and then help mix it in a little bit more. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to add in the other ingredients to the food processor and then finish up blending it. I just wanted to get kind of roughly chopped so it wasn't so bulky and had a little bit more space inside. So the first thing I'm gonna use just some all-purpose plain flour. I'm gonna put in about 1/2 teaspoon of that. Then I'm gonna add in 1/2 teaspoon of salt. So I'm just gonna grind it up inside here. And then I got 1/2 teaspoon. Of salt. I'm gonna put in 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper, or a pinch, something like that. Don't put too much black pepper. Some people like a lot, but I would say the 1/4 teaspoon should be more than enough. Pinch is probably is perfect. I'm gonna put a 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda. And then I'm gonna add 1/2 teaspoon of cumin. And I'm gonna add in a 1/4 teaspoon of ground coriander. And then that should be everything. If you wanna make it spicy, you could at this point add some cayenne, but I'm just gonna leave it like this and then blend it up further. All right, I think it's blended well enough. You can see inside of here, we got a nice even mix. You might have to do that quite a few times just to get the right consistency, but you wanna make sure that you have a nice even mix. There are no really big chunks inside before you're able to make it into your falafel balls. So I'm just gonna take the blade out because I don't want to cut myself on the blade, and then I'm gonna show you how to shape these. For this next part, it's pretty straightforward. You're just gonna go ahead, you're gonna take out a small portion, you're gonna put it into your hand, and what you wanna do is just move it back and forth between your hands, kind of lightly squeezing it. You don't wanna squeeze too hard that it mushes, but until you can make a nice ball. So I'm just gonna go ahead, I'm gonna make all these balls, and then we're gonna start to fry them up. It's now time to deep fry these falafels. So what I'm going to suggest is you get a pot of oil. Only put about maybe like 2 to 3 fingers of oil maximum in the pot, because it will bubble up once you start putting the falafels in, and I don't want it to overflow on you. Take your spoon, roll the falafel onto the spoon. Do not drop it from above. I want you to lower the falafel all the way into the oil and then release it. That makes sure that it's safe and you're not going to have to worry about it splashing and burning you. The oil needs to be bubbling hot, so you need to preheat it before you put it in. If it's not bubbling when you go to put them in, it's not hot enough. You should wait until it gets hotter. Otherwise, the falafels will just soak up all of the oil. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to put a few of these in here. Allow them to cook up. And then I'll know they're cooked by the color. They'll turn dark brown. You can see how the oil is rising as you put these cold falafels inside, bubbling up. You just have to be careful. Get a bowl, put some paper towels inside of it so when they are done, you can put them inside of here and the excess oil can drip off. So this is what they should look like, a nice brown color, at which point you'll remove them from the oil. When removing them, be careful that you don't take a lot of extra oil. You can let it sit up against the side of the pot like this, let the oil drain off your spoon, and then scoop it up and into your bowl. Don't let them burn, don't let the oil burn them. Just get a nice brown color like this, and then continue on with your next ones. Make sure the heat after it comes to a boil like this just is on a medium heat. It should stay hot enough at this point. You don't want it to get too hot. You don't want anything dangerous to happen. I also recommend that you have an adult around when you are deep frying these falafels. The falafels are all finished and they're ready to eat. I'm gonna take this homemade pita bread that I made. I'll share the recipe with you guys. And I'm just gonna cut it open, the top, so I can open it up. I'm gonna use the leftover hummus from our last class to place inside. You could also make some tzatziki sauce, which is like Greek yogurt and cucumbers and dill, which is really good. I highly recommend doing that. If you have time, look up a recipe online, or I'll share one with you guys. And then I'm gonna throw some falafels inside and enjoy. There we have it, our nice falafel sandwich.